Let me ask you a simple question, one that might just keep you awake tonight when your head hits the pillow. How sure are you, right now, that you are not in a dream? Look around you. The cup on your desk, the phone in your hand, the sounds you hear. Are the details truly sharp, or are you living behind a thin veil of mist inside a game your brain is playing on you? Do you remember exactly how you started watching this video, or what you were thinking 5 minutes before you got here? Or did you just find yourself in the middle of this story without a clear beginning? That's how dreams always start, isn't it? Right in the middle. When you watched Inception, the greatest brain gym in cinema history that forced us to confront our perception of reality, only one question was echoing in your mind as the theater lights came up. That top, that spinning piece of metal, did it fall? Or did it defy physics and keep spinning forever? This question has been fiercely debated for over a decade in internet forums, Reddit threads, among friends, and even in film schools. But let me tell you a secret. That was never the real question. Christopher Nolan performed a massive global magic trick right in front of our eyes for 148 minutes. Like a master illusionist, he locked our attention on that little spinning top in his right hand, while with his left hand, he was reconstructing the entire truth of the story. While we stared at the top, we missed the real clues. The true secrets were hidden behind the curtain, in the carefully chosen names of the characters, in the mathematically calculated rhythm of the music, and even on Leonardo DiCaprio's fingers. Today on Scene Atlas, we are descending into the deepest and most dangerous layers of your subconscious, all the way down to limbo where time ceases to exist. We will uncover facts about Inception you've likely never heard, facts that will make you say, how did I miss that? From the insane production madness filmed without green screens, to the famous ring theory that completely, and I mean completely, changes the ending of the movie. If you're ready, grab your totem, hold it tight, and don't let anyone, I mean anyone, touch it, because you know the rules. If someone else touches it, the magic is gone. Now we dive into a deep sleep. But first, to not miss out on these deep dive cinema analyses, to avoid getting lost in the maze of the mind, and to stay awake with us, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Turn on that notification bell so you'll know when your own kick music starts playing. That is, when a new video drops. Come on, the dream is starting! Remember Cobb's unforgettable line? An idea is like a virus. Resilient, highly contagious. Once an idea has taken hold of the brain, it's almost impossible to eradicate. It seems this stubborn parasite had taken root in director Christopher Nolan's mind long before the film's release. Nolan worked on this script for 10 years. Yes, you heard that right, a full decade. Actually, he wanted to shoot the film in the early 2000s, right after Memento, his other masterpiece built on memory and identity. The draft was sitting on his desk. But then he stopped. He put the pen down. He told himself, I am not yet a big enough director to manage such a complex, multi-layered dream architecture and translate this massive vision to the screen without error. This was a magnificent example of an artist knowing their own limits. During this maturation period, Batman Begins, The Prestige, a story about rival magicians, and the crime epic The Dark Knight happened. With these films, Nolan took his technical knowledge to the peak, learned to manage massive sets, and experienced dancing with IMAX cameras. After the success of The Dark Knight, studios gave him unlimited budget and freedom, saying, do whatever you want. And finally, he realized that long-awaited dream, the great heist inside his mind. Now, do you think the character names were chosen just because they sounded cool? In the Nolan universe, there is no room for coincidence or chance. Every letter, every syllable is planned. Let's look at the team's names like a detective cracking a code. Dom, Robert, Eames, Arthur, Mal, and Saito. When you combine the first letters of these main characters, what do you get? Dreams. If you add the other team members, Peter, Ariadne, and Yusuf, you get the phrase, dreams pay. For a movie about thieves who make a living by entering people's dreams to steal ideas, that is quite a significant, ironic, and brilliant wordplay, isn't it? The mystery of names isn't limited to this acrostic. Let's focus on Mal, played by Marion Cotillard, who represents Cobb's greatest trauma and regret. The word mal in French, Spanish, and Portuguese-based languages isn't just a name. It means bad, pain, harm, or unhappiness. It is the root of English words like malfunction, malicious, or malady. So the character Mal isn't just a wife in the script, She is the embodiment of the malignant, painful thought and the guilt that constantly sabotages Cobb from within his subconscious. Let's open a parenthesis for the character Ariadne, played by Ellen Page. Those familiar with Greek mythology surely smiled when they heard this name. In mythology, Princess Ariadne, daughter of King Minos of Crete, gives a ball of thread to her lover Theseus so he can find his way out of the deadly labyrinth where the Minotaur, the half-man, half-bull monster, is imprisoned. In the film, our architect Ariadne is the one who guides Cobb out of his own labyrinth of guilt, out of that complex elevator system. She is the one holding the thread. Nolan masterfully wove thousands of years of ancient mythology into a modern sci-fi heist. Genius is in the details. Now sit back, close your eyes, and open your ears a little wider. You remember the film's iconic, spine-chilling music that shook cinema theaters, right? That famous "bwam" sound by Hans Zimmer that changed the world of cinema soundtracks forever and was heard in every action movie trailer for years to come? That sound, which has been joked about and imitated on the internet for years, is not just a cool, loud sound effect. That sound is the story of the film itself, the very essence of its complex time perception. We know that in the movie, as you go down the dream layers, time slows down, or rather expands for the mind. 10 seconds in real life means minutes in a dream, hours in a lower layer, and decades in limbo. Nolan wanted to reflect this mathematical ratio in the music as well. Remember the kick song used to wake the characters up, to give them the sensation of falling? Edith Piaf's Non, je ne regrette rien. No, I regret nothing. Legendary composer Hans Zimmer took the original recording of this song into the studio. Just like the time perception in a dream, he incredibly slowed down, stretched, and elongated the song digitally. And what was the result? Edith Piaf's fast trumpets and vocals, when slowed down, transformed into the film's famous, heavy, metallic, menacing, and loud theme music. So that massive orchestral score that keeps you on the edge of your seat while watching the movie is actually nothing more than the Edith Piaf song heard in extreme slow motion, muffled inside a dream within a dream. Nolan and Zimmer placed an Inception right into the DNA of the music. As viewers, without realizing it, we physically feel the extended time perceived by the dreaming characters, like those in Yusuf's van, through the music. The rhythm of the music is like the heartbeat of the dream. When I first heard this and listened to the two recordings on top of each other, my mind was blown. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. And hey, if you liked this fact, don't forget to give that like button a solid kick so we stay awake and don't fall into the depths of the algorithm. Nowadays, when we watch big-budget Marvel or DC movies, we know that most of the epic scenes we see are filmed in front of green screens, and everything is CGI. Actors are often talking to tennis balls or empty space. But Christopher Nolan is an old-school director. His philosophy is very simple and clear. If I can shoot it with a camera, I will never do it with a computer. Do you remember that famous hotel hallway fight scene that went down in cinema history? You know, the dizzying scene where gravity suddenly disappears and Arthur runs on walls and fights on the ceiling? Most viewers thought this was entirely a computer effect, a digital illusion. But no! For this scene, Nolan had a real hotel corridor built in an old, massive Zeppelin hangar in England. It was 100 feet long, suspended in a giant steel skeleton that could rotate 360 degrees on its axis, just like a giant hamster wheel. Joseph Gordon-Levitt refused to use a stunt double for those scenes and trained in wire fu for weeks, pushing his physical limits. While the corridor rotated noisily with giant motors, cameras followed them on special rail systems. The actors had to fight without breaking the choreography while trying to adapt to the constantly changing gravity. The sweat you see on Arthur's face in that scene, the breathless exhaustion, is not acting. It is the result of a completely real physical struggle, a battle against gravity. It doesn't end there. What about that massive freight train that suddenly appears in the middle of downtown traffic on a rainy day? You said, "That's definitely CGI, didn't didn't you? You were wrong. That is real too. The production team built a massive steel construction dressed to look like a train on a tractor-trailer chassis. This monster actually drove through the streets of Los Angeles, crushing cars and scattering metal parts everywhere. And the explosion scene at that cafe in Paris? The moment when the surroundings, the fruit stands, and the glass exploded while Cobb and Ariadne sat calmly. They literally blew up that shop with high-pressure air cannons with millisecond precision. The debris raining down on DiCaprio and Page wasn't an effect. It was real debris. The actors flinching and fear in that moment wasn't acting. It was their completely natural reaction to the chaos. This is the thin line between love for cinema, passion for realism, and madness. To fully grasp the level of detail in the film and Nolan's obsessiveness, I need to talk a little about numbers. If you look closely at the film, there are numbers that appear frequently and repeat. For example, Arthur's phone number, hotel room numbers, the safe combination. Observant viewers might have noticed that the hotel room numbers in Fisher's mind were 528, and in the layer below, 491. Were these numbers dialed randomly? Of course not. Nolan doesn't give us a clear answer here, but there are dozens of theories about the patterns of these numbers in numerology or musical frequencies. However, the real magic is hidden in the total runtime of the film. This is very interesting. Listen closely. When that massive Inception title appears on the screen in the credits and the movie ends, the runtime is exactly 2 hours and 28 minutes. Now, what is the original recorded length of Edith Piaf's song Non, je ne regrette rien, which we hear throughout the movie to wake up the characters? Yes, as you guessed, 2 minutes and 28 seconds. Could this be a coincidence? If we are talking about a control freak like Christopher Nolan, no. Could Nolan have structured the entire film as a metaphor for the song, fitting the logic of time expansion in a dream? In other words, was this massive 2 hour and 28 minute action movie we watched actually a reflection of a dream Cobb had during the 2 minutes and 28 seconds of a song he might have listened to while sleeping on the plane? The level of obsession, planning, and editing of this man is truly terrifying. We have arrived at the moment of truth, the moment brains melt. Let's go back to that crucial question I asked at the beginning of the video. Did the movie have a happy ending? Did Cobb really reunite with his children, or is he still in limbo, dreaming an eternal dream in that happy prison he created? Everyone who walked out of the cinema focused on the spinning top on the table at the end of the movie. The top spun, wobbled, faltered slightly, but the screen went black before we heard the sound of it falling. Nolan told us, you find the answer. What matters is that Cobb is no longer looking at the top. But actually, he had hidden the answer in a very subtle detail in the costume design. And the answer wasn't in that metal top. It was on Cobb's left hand. Please listen to this very carefully. Rewind if you have to. When you watch the movie again from start to finish, you will clearly notice this. In all the dream scenes, Cobb wears his wedding ring on his left ring finger. Why? Because in his dreams, in the depths of his subconscious, his wife Mal is still alive. In the dream world, they are still married, still together. The ring is a symbol, an anchor of his existence in the dream world and his obsession with the past. However, in scenes set in the real world, or scenes the movie presents to us as real, there is no ring on Cobb's finger, because in reality, Mal died. Cobb lost her, and he accepted this painful truth along with his guilt. So let's go to that much debated final scene now. The plane lands, Cobb walks out of the airport, returns home. When he passes passport control and hugs his children with that longing, is there a ring on his finger? No, there isn't. His hands are bare. This famous ring theory is the strongest, most consistent, and most overlooked evidence proving that the ending of the movie is absolutely real. Cobb's real totem was never that top. That top was his late wife Mal's totem. Using someone else's totem was against the rules anyway. Cobb carried the top only out of guilt, as a memento. His own secret totem that allowed him to distinguish reality was his wedding ring. He wore it while dreaming and didn't wear it while awake. And in the finale, there was no ring. So yes, take a deep breath. Cobb made it. He is no longer dreaming. He is with his children, in his home, in the arms of reality. Inception isn't just a heist movie full of visual effects. It is a deep emotional masterpiece built on regret, grief, acceptance, and coming home. Nolan wanted us to ask the question, what is reality? But perhaps technically, it doesn't matter whether the top fell or not at the end of the movie. The only thing that matters is that Cobb is no longer looking at that top. He chose his own reality and stopped looking back at the past, at that spinning piece of metal on the table. He liberated himself. Maybe we too should sometimes stop waiting for the top to fall, stop looking for definitive proof and being sure of everything, and instead enjoy the moment in uncertainty and embrace our loved ones. While preparing this video, I had to frequently check my own totem and question my reality. We hope you enjoyed this mind-bending journey through the maze. As the Scene Atlas family, we will continue to map the unknown territories of cinema, games, and technology, chase details, and shed light on the magic behind the curtain every week. If you liked this video and believe you are not still dreaming, that this video and my voice are real, subscribe to the channel and like the video. Let's meet in the comments. Do you think Cobb was dreaming or in reality? Did the ring theory convince you? Or are you one of those who believe the top didn't fall? Write your theory down below. I will read them all. Until the next video, keep your eyes open and your mind awake. Goodbye!